Hello. This week I'll be talking about, we're still living through these collection day changes, and that will take weeks to pan out, and I'll tell you why in a bit. And also, there is another change happening and the consequences of that. And on top of that, it's really about the real chances of succeeding with or without a franchise, so on your own. So the collection day changes, this is real life, this is still happening. So I said originally about these that we will get it right 80%, 80% right, but the remaining 20% isn't really up to us. So if you imagine, it's not just us that have to get used to these collection day changes. The bin men, who do an amazing job, and in some ways an impossible job, the numbers that they have to do, you imagine they are used to a round anyway. So they've now got to change their round. So, and they do thousands of empties a day. So the chances of them being spot on straight out of the gate on a new run is low. So for instance, yesterday, which was Thursday for us, that was the first day we've experienced these actual collection day changes. And I laugh because, to try and do this on your own, the odds are stacked against you. With a franchise, a lot easier, because the people who are behind the franchise, a good franchise like ours, are going to have seen these things time and again. So a great example is, I think yesterday there were roughly 45 bins that were now on a different day. Okay. What percentage of those bins were not emptied at all because the bin men were on a new round? And those guys, they have a hard enough job. It's amazing that they get to actually empty all of them. But there was 40% that weren't emptied. So I'm going to have a look this morning to see if they've emptied them. But anyway, so that gives you a very good window into, we have done everything we can do. We have got them scheduled in. We've worked out. So as I've said in a previous video, we found out where the changes are. We've confirmed those changes. We have changed. We've made those changes on our system. We've allowed for time. We've gone out there, can't do them. So we've done everything right, but unfortunately bin men haven't been emptied. So there's a ripple effect, and it will take time for them to get used to this. So then you can imagine as well, depending on what type of system you're using, how you then got to tell the customers that they haven't been emptied, and they'll probably know why, but then are their payments affected? So the scale, it's a big deal. And in fact, this kind of change is realistically in the top 3 biggest issues you can face as a wheelie bin cleaner. And realistically, it took us about a 2-week period, and that isn't full time. It's, us doing a couple of hours here and there to sort it out. It was quite simple for us. And the other important thing is, my main amazing lady in the office, she was on holiday right slap bang in the middle of this, so we didn't even have her support on there, which would have been great. But it highlights again how well we've got our system running, because I'll be honest, I'm not fantastic with that side of things, which is why this lady does it for me, and she could do way better than me. So, but even though she hasn't been there, my linchpin, I've still managed to do those changes okay. So that's a testament to our system and us, how we do stuff. Now then, this other change, there's a national change going on, and it's no secret, this national change, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And as it rolls out, it will, depending on how efficiently you run your business in the first place, this will have a detrimental effect. And I would say we've calculated, because we have been through similar changes before, but we've calculated that it could reduce profits by somewhere around 15%. Now, that may not sound a lot, but it is a lot. 10 to 15% or so of your income is totally different than the profit. So that's a big deal. And we are not prepared to take that kind of hit. So we have worked out a way that we can profit from this new situation. And again, emphasizing the fact that if you did this on your own, the chances of you knowing this in the first place are very small. And the chances of, I think it took us getting our heads together 3 or 4 hours to come up with a viable way of not only making that percentage of profit back up, but to potentially should quite easily go above. So we've turned a very bad news into good news. And that's what you get with experience. That's what you get with a team that cares. So again, highlighting doing this on your own. So these are two changes that are, if you could pick the top 3 or 4 biggest changes ever, these are right up there. And you'd be very unlucky for these happening at the same time. We've got it happening at the same time. And that's life. That's just how these things come. So you imagine if you were on your own trying to cope with this, if you survive it, you've probably got 6 to 8 months that it would take someone to sort all these things out, and then probably be left with a lack of profit. And this, I'm not making this up. We've seen this happen. We've gained customers from one-man bands who've started this on their own, had a good run through summer, and for whatever reason, very quickly just died, and their customers have come to us. So let's have a look at the specifics of why that is. Why have we survived and why have others not? And after thinking about it a lot, I would say it's because of normality. Normal people want to work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. They have a family life, very balanced, and that's great. That's absolutely brilliant. But I haven't been like that. I have been stubborn, and if it hasn't worked, I've pushed through those things. So anyone who's become successful in their field over just a sustained period of time has had to sacrifice something or a lot of big things, to the detriment of probably something personal. I've worked far too many hours than is good for me. I know that for certain. And the good thing is I don't have to do that now. But that's a big reason why someone on their own isn't going to succeed, because realistically you could argue that the effort that you put in, the sacrifices you make, most normal sane people aren't prepared to do, and I think that's right. So I've gone through that period and I don't need to do things to that degree anymore. But as a franchisee, you get the benefits of someone working to the extremes to make something right. So not only would you get, as a franchisee, 17 plus years of experience and solving problems, but you actually get a huge added extreme part that has made things work when realistically somebody normal or sane isn't going to go to those degrees to get that right. But we have. So again, don't underestimate the difficulty of trying to make something like wheelie bin cleaning work on your own if you want to earn a decent living, and take advantage of us. I mean, you must be able to tell from me and these videos, I love doing this, and I know if someone works hard enough with everything they get from us, they are going to be successful, and they're going to have direct contact with me and our team, and we'll do it together. And this is an inclusive thing. You'll be part of a family, really. So I'm going to leave it there. So have a good week.